Hey everybody, G-Bear here, Homesteading the Desert, another episode. I'm out here for the Easter weekend, which is actually pretty much close to permanent. I brought another load up, but I want to start in the orchard here. I want to show you this green grass growing up all over the place here. It's really amazing how much green grass I got growing. Okay, I'm going to move on down. I brought up another full load. I had my trailer loaded with a metal cabinet and my 500-pound safe. That's a fireproof safe, and I had to get that stuff up here because it's pretty heavy. I still got one more heavy item that I really got to get up is my milling machine. And I've got to make room for that. That's why I'm up here for some extra time. I gotta dig out a hole in the other container. This is container 2, and some of the stuff is going to be coming out of here, like this wire here. This is for my garden house. The plywood doesn't have to be here. That can get out. And my fertilizer and compost and that stuff, that can get out of here. I brought up a bunch of kitchen stuff. I used to cook and cater, and I've got a bunch of that stuff here, and I pulled out of cabinets. This corner right here, from like here out to the door, is all kitchen stuff, and it's way more than I really need. But right now I'm pressed for time on the move to get out here permanently, so I just decided box everything, run it up here, get it in storage, and then I'll go through it a little at a time, and I'll thin it out to what I want to keep and what I want to get rid of. And then down on the corner where the neighbors drive by all the time, I'll put a sign up and a couple of tables out there with some stuff on there to just say free to my neighbors, and let people come by and pick through it, see what they could use. I brought up this wire shelf, and I'm going to be mounting that, and this plywood shelf, and I'll be getting that up. I've got to go to the Home Depot and pick up some shelf brackets to mount stuff, and I'll probably turn these, I'll rip these down and turn these into shelves too. And then I'm also going to pick up a sheet of plywood because I've got a workstation that's going to go in here. It's like 7 foot by 7 foot, and this is 8 foot wide. So I'm gonna be putting that in right in this corner here, because this gets the most of the shade during the day right in this corner. So if I had to come and work at this workstation, it wouldn't be too hot. It'd be pretty cool. Here's the big cabinet I brought up, and you may not think so, but that thing with the shelves and all the stuff that's inside of it probably goes about 200 pounds. This box down here, this wooden box, and the mat over the top is a kind of a disguise. That's my bench seat. Inside of that, I can't lift it up because of all this stuff that's on there, is the safe that I was telling you about. And it is a little over 5 feet across, 2 foot by 2 foot, and that door is the door on the thing is probably close to 5.5 inches thick, and it is fire resistant. Okay, back here, I'm going to be putting plywood across the wall there and across the wall here, and I'm probably going to put one across the wall here. I think 2 sheets. I'll cut the 8-footer down to fit there, and then I'll do another 8-footer right here to there, and then the 2 little pieces I have, I'll put on this wall for just for mounting my other cabinets that I have to mount on the wall. And it's easier fastening them to plywood than it is to try to fasten them to the walls of this thing, because this is pretty heavy gauge steel. All right, I brought up some of my big pots and pans, and inside this box is all beer and wine making equipment. Yes, I do that also, and we'll be getting into that down the line. it's not a good thing to do, try to make beer in the hot weather. You have to try to keep the temperature down in the room where the beer is fermenting. Otherwise, you're going to have beer-flavored air and carpeting and flooring and walls, and all the bottles will pop. So that's probably going to come in late next year. My Italian apron there was given to me by my friend Art years ago. He liked my homemade pizza, and he gave me a nice Italian Michelangelo apron so that I could wear while I'm cooking pizza. All right, this stuff is getting out of here now. The harsh weather, I think, is past this point, and this is my stainless steel beer kettle, and I threw some of my beer making stuff in there, my bottle capper and my hygrometer and things like that. I've still got more to bring up. I've got my fermentation tanks I've got to come up and things like that. All right. Let's see. Coming out of here, this is all stuff from the kitchen that just came up. I've got spices and things like that all need to get into cabinetry, and I will be doing that soon. All right, let's move down. I pulled the ATV out of here so that I could make access to the back, and I've got to start moving stuff around here. As you can see, I got a lot of paint stored up here, and that's all going to get blended in a big 5-gallon pail, or a couple of 5-gallon pails actually, and then the outsides of these shipping containers are going to be painted in a desert sand color, so they kind of match the cabin and everything else that's out here. All right, some scrap metal I had laying around, some more shelving that I had laying around. This will be tool shelving because it's a little bit on the dirty side. I've been sitting out in the weather. And I got my other stuff sitting around here. Let's move over to the shower. I brought some other homey items up here to start making it look like a home instead of just a resort. All right, I got my hot baths and massages mirror up here, and that's above the outdoor sink here. And I've been collecting rocks because I'm going to use my tile saw to cut these and shave them down into pieces of tile, and then I'm going to tile my countertop with them. So that's a nothing else to do project down the line, but just some fun stuff that I was thinking about doing. All right, move on down. Everything else is in excellent position. You can see that the turbine isn't moving. The little wind meter is moving, but there's been basically no wind out here at all since I got here. I think it got up to about 7 miles per hour the whole time. But right now it's still way up in the upper 70s. Going to have a full moon tonight right up there, as you can see it. And you can look at all the grass growing over here. You see all the green going all the way down there past my shadow. And that was all just plowed. But I sprinkled the seed on it after I plowed it, and it all took. And all through here, there's clusters of grass coming up. And around the back of the unit, there's clusters of grass growing up. Let's move on inside real quick, and we'll bring today's video to an end. All right. Some of the other things I brought up. Well, I brought up a full-size monitor, keyboard, and mouse, and I have my little netbook tied into that so that I now have a better view at what I'm doing and without having to move the screen around on that little netbook. I also tied my Roku into the TV, and I have more channels than I'll ever watch. But if I have any visitors up who just tired of watching the regular local channels, they can choose from thousands and thousands of stream channels that are all tied into that little unit. I also just ordered a cradle point online, and I will be taking the SIM card out of that unit, my little jetpack, and putting it into the cradle point, which is going to basically give me a full networking router. All right, up here, pictures. That's my old dog from quite a few years ago. That was Sammy. She was a sweetheart. She died of cancer of the liver, and I miss her. And down here is Sugar, and yeah, she got a dinosaur bone in her mouth. Believe it or not, she used to lay down with one of those dinosaur bones, and in an hour there was nothing left but a few shards laying on the carpet. I had to go pick those up and get rid of them before I stepped on them and cut my foot open. Here's a picture that I always liked. I'm not going to go into the meaning of it. You can make up your own. And then over here, this is something that a little phrase that I used years ago. And when I worked at the Ultramarine base, I had one of the girls that worked in advertising print this up on a card for me, and then I made the frame myself, and I on my woodworking tools, and then threw that in there. And I did actually have it signed in this corner, but she refused to put that in there, saying, "Oh, you didn't make up that saying." I says, "Yes, I did." But hey, what the heck? It's there. It's a good thing to think of and a good thing to remember. All right, here we are down at the weather station. Right now, 3 miles per hour, gusting up to 6, averaging 4. So this thing says that it's going to rain within 14 days. Baloney. It is the 29th, 6:17 p.m., 29.98. That was up to 30.19 today. So that was high pressure in. And this is saying that we're not in full moon phase yet. So the moon looked full out there, but it's not. Right now it's 78 degrees with 17% humidity. And indoors here it's 83 with 16% humidity, same humidity. But here you can see the history. It's been in the 80s all day. And because of that, I have my new fan working. And I didn't even open any windows here because all it would do is let hot air in. But I have my fan working, and I was sitting down here just relaxing. And I had to get my dinner started, so I did that. The other thing is I put that shelf in there. And I have one other shelf right here, which I'm going to put up between those two cabinets just above that window. And I'll be able to get a lot of this stuff off the counter here. That'll give me a lot of extra room. All right. That's about it. My kettle barbecue is running. I just lit this up a little while ago. The charcoal looks like it's hot enough now. My baked potato was sitting in there, so time to cover it. And we'll just vent it a little bit. And let that thing come up to heat. And get my baked potato going, because I am going to have a New York tonight. G-Bear signing off from another episode, Homesteading the Desert. A lot more to come. Stay tuned.